Eric Church Free the Machine Tour. Live at Wells Fargo Arena, Saturday, September 27th. One epic night of music that you won't want to miss with special guest Marcus King Band. Get tickets Friday, May 9th at 10 a.m. at highvtix.com. His new album, Evangeline vs. the Machine, is out now. For more, visit ericchurch.com.
Oh, yes.
Mom, Dad's being weird again.
Luscious.
Honey,
So full.
it's just grass.
Oh, it's so much more than just grass. It's a healthier, greener, and more luscious lawn. Yours can be too.
Look at you.
With 𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗃 Lawn Care.
Remember, no shoes on the lawn. Because you're so beautiful.
Call or click today.
Join us for the Murph and Andy Patio Tour every Friday starting this week, May 9th at 𝗀𝗄𝗎's Pizza in the Prairie Trail District in Ankeny. You've heard us talk about the great food and drinks at 𝗀𝗄𝗎's. Now come try them for yourself. It starts at 1 o'clock this Friday, 𝗀𝗄𝗎's in Ankeny with Murph and Andy and Iowa Everywhere.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru, live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy, connected by cellular advantage.
Happy Cinco de Mayo and welcome to Murph and Andy. I just got an important text, Andy. Jenny just texted me during the open. All right, if you want to go to Eric Church, I'll go. It's a big deal because we've been to Eric Church and she's ready to tell anybody who'll listen it was like the longest 3 hours of her life.
Well, that must mean she really loves you then.
It must be. It must be because that's she just didn't think there was a lot of action in the concert. Like she wants the spectacle. You know, the light show and the dancing and the moving around and all of that.
Promo makes it seem like there's a lot of action.
It does. And it really didn't seem like that the night we saw him. I was with Chris Williams. We went to that at Wells Fargo Arena and Michael Admire. And Eric Church did kind of just stand at the microphone for most of the night. But yeah, this makes it look like he's kind of doing a Springsteen type thing where he's moving all around. So we'll see. How long are we going to hear that commercial? Is that September? September?
I think that's
yeah,
right.
There's is the Shane Gillis concert like in the fall also? When is that coming? Yeah, okay. Get comfortable with these spots.
Yeah, because it's not going to be just early onset Republican. It's going to be progressed into the full whatever's next in the Shane Gillis joke there. It's a lot. Hey, Andy, I know it's not high or low yet, but yesterday, Bryce Miller's mom, B, brought me this cookbook that Bryce had kept. He took us to something called the Shed. And you know, Bryce knew all these places that no one else. It's in Brooklyn, Missouri, which I want to know if you had any idea where that is. It was out in the middle of nowhere. And it did look like this. Motorcycles parked here. It is a shed in the middle of a field. And unbeknownst to us, Jenny and I were being watched by the people inside as we talked about the Confederate flag that was flying out in front of the shed. So we're out there.
That is just south of the Iowa-Missouri border, south of Eagleville, which people will know for its weed and fireworks and cheap cigarettes.
Yes. So we find this place somehow from Bryce's memory, which I have no idea.
It doesn't look like it's too far off the highway, so I can imagine. I think I have been there before. I think
to this shed or to Brooklyn.
No, to Brooklyn. I think Randy Schumacher and I did a story there one time.
Yeah, because the shed is not actually in Brooklyn. It's way back in the woods and the fields, out of nowhere. And somehow Bryce remembered how to get there. And he knew some people from his hometown in Iowa who were members of whatever club this is at the shed. So we go to knock on the door.
Club? What? That's not the clan, is it?
No, not well. No. There was nothing to suggest that other than that
And then the
Confederate flag, which is not that uncommon in southern Iowa and northern Missouri.
It's
but
pretty uncommon.
Really?
I don't see those very often at all. No, thankfully, no.
In that area?
No.
Okay.
No,
well,
I mean,
that's
Missouri
good.
was a border state. Yeah, it was kind of a slave state, sort of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
St. Louis was not, but yeah.
We
Missouri,
didn't know we're being watched. So by the time we knock on the door, it's a little bit tense. But then they see Bryce. Oh, Bryce, come on in, and everything's fine. And we're honorary club members for the day, and we get the beer and all that. And then they sell these, or Bryce bought, and I mean stuff like the Velveeta cheese loaf, 2 pounds of Velveeta softened, 1 pound of cream cheese softened. Roll the Velveeta out on wax paper, spread with cream cheese, sprinkle with jalapeno and onion. Using wax paper, fold the edges to meat, flip onto the platter, and serve with Fritos. So it's just a whole
you don't even melt it.
Cookbook full of that. I don't know. It's a whole thing of recipes, and they're all comfort foods from the shed. But Bryce's mother and his older brother Bruce, coming over and bringing me the shed cookbook. It made my day yesterday.
Love those regional cookbooks. Find some good stuff in those.
Let's get a quickie poll from WCI Pools and Spas right here on Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th. AD?
Have you been to Mexico? Yes or no?
Polling at 68% here in the early vote. I thought about making this, does Cancun count? Yes, no, that kind of thing. But it's the majority of people so far we've been. AD, I guess I don't know if you've been.
I never have. Nope. Never gone to any of those resorts or anything. I'd really like to go to Mexico City. That's on my bucket list. I studied a lot of that history in college, and so I really want to get down there. But no, I've never been to Mexico.
I would like to get to Mexico City too. I mean, it looks enormous. Speaking of Bryce, I know he was there to cover the Padres when they played a game there, and he was fascinated by it. I know some people have some fears about going into Mexico City, but there are a lot of American cities you go into right now. You better have some healthy fears.
Yeah, I mean, outsiders always hear those stories, and those are the ones they latch on to. But yeah, I would love to go to Mexico City. There are a bunch of cities in Mexico that I would love to go to. It's a big country. It's got all sorts of different topography. I've obviously spent most of my time in Cancun, but yeah, I've been to border towns and that, and those are a trip. Mexico is an amazing place to go.
It really is, and that's one of the reasons I like to go to Isla Mujeres. Is it sounds, and it is more authentic than Cancun in parts of Isla Mujeres. But when you go to Cancun, it's almost like, I'm going to Mexico. Oh, where are you going? Cancun.
Yeah, I always say just Cancun, and then the questions stop after that point.
Yeah.
No longer
you're going to a
interested.
resort. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. A Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for sports and more. Coming up, Caitlin's homecoming, Muddy Derby, 2 truths, 1 lie as part of our more segment. Guest House Tavern, Northwoods inspired and Midwestern hospitality. Right now on a Monday, it's high or low since our last show Friday.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Once again, Tim Hawkins looking for some help up there at Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax in the client services division of his business. If you're interested in joining this nice company to work for, look him up at wealthcharterretirement.com.
Should have good benefits.
Or just Google search them, anymore. Why do we do that anymore? Why do we still give phone numbers and websites to people that are not sitting there with a pen and paper in hand?
Yeah.
Why do we do that on TV? We do that on the news all the time. We're like, the website that you want to go to is ia.gov.backslash.next. You're just like, they're not writing
Research.
this down. Just
Tuesday.
tell them what to Google search, and they know how to take care of the rest. Man, I got a double load today, which is ironic because it is an absolutely beautiful day, and I've been outside all morning, and it's just so gorgeous. And
Might be the best day of the year so far. It's
I
just
think
perfect.
you're right. It's perfect. And on a Monday, it helps so much. Man, I got a double low. First of all, my Blues melted down in Winnipeg last night. So I am so bummed about that.
John and I were working when you came into the sports office near the 10 o'clock hour, and we had been watching the NBA game, the playoff game, and you came in, you were describing what happened. Like the Jets scored with, was it 2 seconds to go to tie it?
Yes. Yeah, well, the Blues are up 3. I'm watching a pirated feed on my phone.
I won't tell
at my
anybody.
desk, and the Blues are up 3-1 with 2 minutes left to go in the series. They hang on to that, they win, they move on to the next round. And Winnipeg pulls their goaltender. They're keeping the pressure on. And I'm telling you, and the Blues can't clear the zone. They score, make it 3-2. They keep up the same strategy, goaltender pulled, pressure on, and with 1.6 seconds left in play, in regulation.
1.6.
A shot through, or a pass/shot through the middle, hits a couple of players, redirects off a stick, and goes past Jordan Binnington to tie the game. They go to double overtime, and the Blues lose it in double overtime. And it's so hard. There is nothing. We should have an off-season talk about this sometime. As a sports fan, there are certain situations that are more annoying than others to watch. And I don't know that in my life there is a situation that is more tense and annoying than when your hockey team can't clear the zone in the final minute, seconds of play, where they're all you got to do is shoot the damn thing across the blue line, not even at the other end, just get it across the blue line. So all of the opponent's attackers have to go reset across the blue lines and get on sides again. And they can't do it. They can't do it. Everybody's trying. You're trying to jump on top of a shot or a pass or do anything. Just throw your stick at the puck and somehow touch it so it goes across the blue line, and they can't do it. And that was the case for over 2 minutes last night. It was just brutal. So now kudos to the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, that's the best team in the Western Conference. It is a true hockey town, a hockey province.
Have you seen the reaction of people outside, not people in the building, but just like people who are watching in the streets?
No, they showed it the whole game over and over again. And,
God, it's just bananas.
Yeah, you find situations like that in American hockey cities too, but not like that though. Not like they do in Canada, where
it means everything.
Winnipeg is a big city with over 1 million people in it, and the streets are just lined. I mean, and nobody's doing anything else there. They're just all no, that's not Winnipeg, I don't believe. Although that wasn't too yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit more crowded than Baconfest.
All right, this is where the tie comes right here, Andy. Here comes the tie.
Look at that. Yeah.
I mean, it is just crazy.
Yeah. And
I mean, there is no room in that street.
I can't hate on that scene. I mean, that's a great
really
scene.
cool.
So
and then you kind of feel like they're going to win it in overtime at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean the momentum swings, but then the Blues. I mean, they kill a penalty, they stop a breakaway, they play really well in the first overtime and send it to the second overtime. But at that point,
you're anchoring at this time. Isn't this going on during the 10 p.m.
Yeah, another
news?
thing that was annoying about it, I got to do the 9 o'clock news and the damn 10 o'clock news. And I got friends from all over that are texting me.
My job's getting in the way of this game.
My cousin Matt, who is the sweetest kid in the world. He's my youngest cousin. And Matt goes about 6'7", 300 pounds. We call him a Big Mac. He's so sweet. He is the biggest sports fan in our family, and he just lives and dies with every pitch and period for the Cardinals, Blues, whomever. And he's texting me like crazy. He's using Facebook Messenger, which I cannot set to silent. And so it's or at least not without digging into my phone and changing the settings. So it's going off. I'm hearing from all sorts of other friends in different states. And I'm like, yes, I know. And I'm trying not to let it affect my mood. But anyway, I digress. That's one of the
That's
lows.
one low?
One low. The other one is get new carpet today.
Well, it sounds like it should be a high.
It's great. I'm really happy for the.
Probably like luxurious shag, like maybe Elvis would have in Graceland.
I mean, we're getting some more carpet. It ain't going to be shag, but I mean, it's our carpet was so bad. We had off-white carpet with 2 kids and 2 dogs. The stains had their own stains.
Yeah, stains on stains.
This is awful. But what do you have to do to get new carpet?
You have to take the old carpet up. Well, first of all, you have to move everything.
Got to move all the furniture.
Yeah.
Did that yesterday, and oh, my back is so sore today, man. I just can't. I was feeling great, and now I'm just back to feeling like an old man again. Oh, my God. So next week, they're doing carpet up here, and I'm looking real hard at just paying those guys to move the furniture for me.
It's if you have the extra discretionary income, worth the expense. I don't know.
Yeah, I've always tried to just do everything myself, but I'm to the point where, I mean, you injure yourself, set yourself back a month now. That's not worth it.
Yeah, I did the radio show one time for a month with a strained hamstring, but I was there.
So did I.
Kept showing up.
Still doing it. Yeah, that hamstring has not gotten better. The one where I tried to pick up the matchbook off the ground with my teeth.
Hey, you're involved.
Idea that was.
In my high. My high is just a great Saturday at Baconfest. Kudos to Brooks Reynolds, to you, Andy, and to everybody who put on a fun time. The Unfortunate Sons, Yachty by Nature, the bands that were there. Saw so many friends and just fun people who love and listen and watch the Iowa Everywhere shows. Had so many great conversations. Got to spend time with the cast of The Love Boat because the theme was yacht rock. And Andy, you and your, well, it's not really a sailor outfit, is it?
No, I had a number of people come up to me and be like, "Hey, you could have borrowed my naval uniform." Like, well, first of all, the guys in the Love Boat were not in the Navy.
Yeah, okay. You don't want to be disrespectful.
No, that's the Navy. That's a military. That's armed forces. These guys are sailing a cruise ship. That was it. I'm not even sure why they wore that stuff. I mean, really? They could have worn any kind of uniform.
Yeah, it makes you look like a position of authority.
They are a sea captain. I know there's a lot of prestige that comes with that, but
you could be a sea captain, lead singer of the Village People.
I mean, I don't know why Isaac the bartender is in uniform, but no, actually, he's just that Isaac there is just dressed like a bartender. Did Isaac wear a uniform? Maybe
Isaac had a red sports coat. Yeah,
at least in my mind
he did. Sure, and there's Julie on the right.
Julie, and how about that doctor was always getting some. That guy was like. You're like that. Why is that guy
They just called him Doc, didn't they?
The Lothario of Doc. He was the guy that was always chasing tail.
Oh yeah, that's why. By the way, we're this is
there's the Bacon Queen.
The Bacon Queen, very nice.
Addie Carter is her name.
Yeah, in that shot,
she was not born when we first started doing Baconfest, I'm sure.
The cast of the Love Boat there. You notice Doc is missing from the photo because he's out there getting after it. So we got Captain Stubing and Isaac and Julie. Yeah, he's getting treated. He's getting like penicillin, so he couldn't appear at this photo.
What's going on here?
Dancing. It's dancing, kind of like an Elaine Bennis type dance.
Playing at that point.
That's the Unfortunate Sons.
Oh, the Unfortunate Sons. Yeah, those are nice guys. Yeah,
nice. They're our neighbors. So at least some of the Unfortunate Sons. and one unfortunate
It
daughter.
was really fun. It's
was
such
a good time.
Brooks is Des Moines. He's like Des Moines maitre d'. He's Des Moines host. He's like, it's hard to describe him. He knows everybody. Everybody
one time
likes
told
him.
me he's Des Moines class president, and I think that's the best description I've heard of Brooks. Because
If the
everybody
class
knows
president
him,
is always planning a party.
Yeah, he's planning stuff. He's always got something going on. He's popular. Everybody likes him. Everybody knows him.
Yep.
He fits in with all the different groups.
You know what I like about it too is that we're it's a day event. You started at 11. We did do something different this year, and it ended up being smart because we usually go around and we get the bacon samples. It might just be in my head because calories are calories, right? Your stomach, I suppose, doesn't know the difference. But we felt like we needed a meal. So we went over to Jerry's that's right by the State Fair. Been there for, I don't know, 50, 75 years or something.
The one right on 30th Street there?
Yeah, right there by the State Fair. And we had a meal before we went over. I think that was a good move.
Is it on 30th Street or on University or on Dean? And is it East 30th Street, Murph, or is it regular 30th Street?
You're doing this to humiliate my my
I'm
lack
kidding.
of
Go ahead.
directions.
Yeah. It's near the fair. The
It's
fair
near the
covers like
fair, Andy.
50 square blocks.
It's right by the State Fair. We can walk from Jerry's over to the Baconfest. But we had a really good time over there, and thank you to all the people who came up and said nice things, had a good time. It was fun. It was just a blast. Really enjoyed it. And then we met Sipker and Williams over at Locust Tap. You talk about not a Chris Hassel dive bar, but an actual dive bar. This is a dive bar. And I think is Chris wearing an Eric Church shirt, of course, the Bush Light. And we had a good time there, but it was time to go home.
I went to the Westtown Tap afterwards with a group
okay.
of friends, and we sat down
on the patio tour.
Yep, we started out on the patio, but the sun was going down and it was getting a little cool, but it was a beautiful night. It was absolutely beautiful, but I think like temps are like in the low 50s and the girls were getting cold. So we went inside. I was not driving at that point, but we were like at that point where we had been out all day and everybody was really hungry and like we just ordered everything.
You need to get some food in you.
Whole table was full of food and apps and beers, and like the waitress was coming around and no one was saying no. It was like, yep, refills on this, yep, another round, yep. Just a huge table full of food. And I will say, I left our mark on the Westtown Tap. No. Nope.
What do you mean?
I left our mark for Tim Hartman and company over at the Westtown Tap. I'll let everybody try to figure out what that is. But we will be there late in the patio tour. But we went over there because it was the closest place to our house, and it was good. But then I came home after that, after eating a whole bunch and standing all day, and yelling, and
fell asleep.
Wiped out on the couch. Woke up at 3 a.m. Totally dark. Everybody was gone. One shoe on, one shoe off. And then at that point, you got to decide, all right, so do I get up and brush my teeth and like go to bed and do all that? And such a hassle. Where were we? What were we talking? You were talking about your high, man. I hijacked that. I'm sorry.
Interact on YouTube. On X, it's Murph_Andy. The email is Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. And it is all powered by the Cellular Advantage, proudly representing U.S. Cellular since 1993 with 35 regional locations. Let's get the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
Dedicated to providing heating and cooling solutions for 119 years here in the Metro. Well, Caitlin Clark and the Fever beat Brazil by about 100 points in an exhibition game. Certainly the most covered WNBA exhibition game in history. Is crazy the amount of media that was at Carver Hawkeye Arena. I guess at this point it's not crazy, and it is kind of expected. But this was the this was a big moment because it was Caitlin Clark's homecoming, and she was bringing this championship contender, this Fever team, with her over there. But Andy, it was a reminder, as John Sears said on Sound Off last night, the Caitlin Clark effect and star it's not descending, it's still ascending. It's still going up. I mean, people lined up for hours ahead of the doors being opened. The tickets to this game were the most expensive on the secondary market in the history of women's basketball, college or pro. Average secondary market ticket price, $670. It was sold out, of course. The tailgating started at like 9 a.m. People were there. And you see the autograph session. She did a couple of these. At one point, the Brazilian national team is part of the group of people who all want her autograph and picture. And of course, she accommodates that. Mm-hmm. But it was ESPN, just one more thing that made this a big deal. It's not a big game. It's not an important game.
No. Once the game got going, you were reminded that this was not about the game.
Right.
Well, they ended up winning by 64 points.
Right. This was all about.
It was a show. Yeah.
Yeah, and who's quickly becoming, if not already confirmed, is this the biggest star Iowa has ever produced? I mean, on a world stage.
Yes. I mean, context is difficult because it's been so long since Bob Feller, but baseball was by far, it was the biggest sport then. It was like that, horse racing and boxing. Baseball meant everything to America, and he was the biggest star in baseball for a time. Certainly the biggest pitching star in baseball, and that's huge. And that's just been so long ago, it's hard for us to put that in context, and we probably shouldn't really try. But what I think you can say right now is that in the moment, she is maybe, if not at least, one of the biggest stars in American sports right now, which, I mean, that's just, that doesn't happen to Iowans. That doesn't happen to Iowans.
Yeah, and that's a fact.
Doesn't. Yeah. So, but what it really kind of dawned on me yesterday is that the thing that sets Caitlin Clark apart is because she keeps plowing into virgin ground all the time. Things that we've never seen before, things that we've never considered before, and keeps taking the needle from 0 to 10. And that's very rare in sports, because we almost always, in sports that become a big deal, there is some sort of significant precedent. Whether it was, baseball a long time ago, horse racing a long time ago, boxing a long time ago, there's some sort of point of reference that you can, single out and say, oh, okay, well, it used to be like this, and now it is again. But with the WNBA and women's basketball in general, things that we are seeing from Caitlin Clark and things that have been engineered by Caitlin Clark or in conjunction with are things that we've truly not seen before.
Right.
And I mean, that's just something that in a country this big, that's been around this long, in the world of sports that's been covered as much as it has and been around for as long as it has, you just don't have that many opportunities left. I mean, you have to go into a fringe sport that's probably relatively new, and then take that sport from 0 to the number one paid attention to event of the day or the week, the season, whatever. That's so hard to do. That almost never happens. And yet she has done it repeatedly, and she did it again yesterday. I mean, that was a WNBA exhibition game against a team that nobody cares about, nobody's heard of.
Completely overmatched, right?
Totally overmatched. It was in Iowa. It was in Iowa. And not in Des Moines, not in the biggest city in Iowa, is in Iowa City.
And there is an Iowa element to this. There's no doubt about that. But like Jenny and I went to a game in Washington, D.C. last year. They had moved it to where the Capitals play hockey. There were 22,000 people at the game, and far more than half of them were there rooting for the Fever to see Caitlin Clark, which is why they have the motto this year, no away games. They're moving all these games in all these American cities to bigger arenas because this isn't just about Caitlin Clark being a star in Iowa. As I said last year, when we went to Japan, people were wearing Caitlin Clark shirts in Japan, people who did not speak English.
Yeah.
And
just asked me a couple of weeks ago in Mexico about her.
Yeah, that's the difference here too with American football. Like some of the stars in the past that come to mind probably weren't international stars. Even last year when Caitlin went with the Iowa basketball team overseas, they were mobbed everywhere they went because of her international appeal. So it is different. But just to move along here, and thank you, Blake Hornstein, for the video from Hawkeye headquarters here in the pregame. We're not allowed to shoot the game, by the way. It's one of the ESPN rules. ESPN moved this game up for a national television audience, so it was moved up to 3 o'clock so that they could put the game on, which also had never happened in a preseason or exhibition game. And the WNBA does make a distinction. Saturday's game against the Mystics that the Fever played, that was a preseason game. This is just classified as an exhibition game, and it was the most expensive ticket in the history of women's basketball. But the thing that you also can't help but notice, yes, it's not a competitive game. It's never in doubt, but still, Caitlin Clark seems to find a way in these moments to give people what they came to see. She hits the first basket of the game as a step back three. And then, of course, right before she's about to be pulled out, she pulls up beyond the 22 logo where she set the NCAA scoring record and shoots a 36-foot three at full pace and has it go in. And the decibel level in Carver Hawkeye Arena may have never been louder than it was at that moment because it was a big moment. And it's cool to see. She only played 19 minutes, but people got what they came for.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, you got to see, as Jan Jensen was saying the other day to me, I mean, if you are a fan of the WNBA or you're interested in the Indiana Fever, I mean, they've got a bunch of new elements. You saw Sophie Cunningham and the others.
They're going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to see this team, which should be a real factor in the WNBA this year, play for the first time. And it's a time of the year where, we have other sports going on, certainly, but, there's some room for the WNBA to fill a gap. But yep. I just thought it was, I thought it was cool because you just had, there was just so much awareness that this was happening and that the season is coming. They've not had that, well, last year maybe, but not the year before. I mean, they're not to the point where they're used to this. I love the idea that they're looking at doing more things like this. They're putting the games on other college campuses. I think that's a really good idea.
The Brazilian national team, prior to this game, played at LSU.
Right. Yeah.
Against the Sky, where Angel Reese played. Now, the arena was less than half full. There were around 6,000 fans there. But still, that grows the game too.
That's probably quite a few more fans than they would have if they had, put the game in Chicago or something. But I mean, it's just, and it's at the very least, it's a talker, and they shouldn't try to reinvent the wheel. They should look at this and say, okay, I understand Caitlin Clark can't play for every team, but what are some of the things, some of the elements that she's sort of making fun that we could spread around to the other teams, other players, and try to just kind of ride this whole wave.
And it was a reminder, we saw her play basically year round last year, and now it's been a long time since she had played. So for the people who want to see her, there was certainly a hunger for that. I think that's most people. There's no doubt there's some hatelins out there, but most people were glad to have this day, and she delivered again, as she seems to do in these moments. Here is Caitlin Clark after the game again. Game. It's a game against Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to come back here every year. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but just really, really thankful for the W and the Fever organization wanting to play this game here. And obviously the Brazilian national team had to agree to do it too, so you got to give them credit as well. I think it's really good for our fans that might not have a chance to go see us play in the W at a certain city, whether it's, the closest one to here is probably Chicago, and that's still 3 hours, or Minnesota. So not everybody has that ability to get to a city like that. So I think it gives them a great opportunity to come and cheer for us, and also see a team they've probably watched on TV quite a few times. And I've told my teammates, they're going to be here cheering for me, yes, but they're also going to be here cheering for you and our entire team. And I think that's what's so great about these fans is they really rally around the entire team. It's not just myself, and that's what I love about them.
And the Brazilian national team, as soon as they got into Carver Hawkeye Arena, they went straight to that logo and started trying to launch threes from there.
Yeah.
Because it's farther than most people realize. Oh, it's a nice picture. Thanks, AD. That is the team from Brazil.
Genuine smiles there.
Yeah, this is probably the reception that Caitlin Clark was expecting, or that most of us expected in the WNBA last year, but there wasn't a lot of this from some players. But I think it's going to calm down a little bit this year as you get on the private chartered flights and the league grows and you
realize that the bitterness is baggage that you've got to carry around, and you did that last year and it wore you out, and it's just easier to go
and
with
that
the
she
flow
really
this year.
is that good.
Yeah, she's just nice. Also, there's no reason to hate on her.
More hot topics. Tyrese Halliburton, the former Cyclone, he and the Pacers, speaking of great point guards from Indiana, they go to Cleveland and steal game one in what should be an interesting series there. And I don't know how long it's been since Tyrese Halliburton played a basketball game without his dad, John, there, but I'm sure it's been a long time because he even when he's at Iowa State, we made the point before, even after Tyrese got hurt, John and Brenda Halliburton kept going to Iowa State basketball games home and away.
It's so 2025, though, that a parent gets kicked out of his kid's basketball game.
It is. I mean, have you been to
even
Little
in
League?
the NBA? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Warriors won at Houston in Game 7. Experience pays there. Also helps to have Steph Curry. And Warriors Timberwolves. Sign me up for this series. Ant-Man against Steph. AD, I know your Lakers are bounced, but this is going to be one you'll watch, right?
Yeah, this will be a lot of fun. I'm excited about this.
You got the Knicks, Celtics, Nuggets, Thunder going tonight, so that this is getting fun.
It's getting interesting.
It is. And here's a fascinating fact. James Harden has now shot poorly in 4 different Game 7 losses for 4 different teams. If Jalen Brunson is Mr. Clutch, this is Mr. Clutch failed, or Mr. Anti-Clutch,
Mr. Blown
Mr.
Clutch.
Choke.
Yeah,
he's terrible in Game 7 across multiple organizations, multiple Game 7s. It happened again. UFC in Des Moines. I didn't go, but Jeremy Stevens, who was on Sound Off, 21, 22 years ago, a long time ago. He's still out there fighting.
On the Murph and Andy show.
Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah. We talked to him once. He was on a treadmill. You remember that interview?
Yeah. He didn't stop working out. We were like, Jeremy, you're breathing really heavy. Are you working out right now? Yeah.
AD, do you remember when he called in and he was on the treadmill?
Yeah.
It
was like, hey, can we get no.
No.
Just somewhere where you want to sit down and do no.
I got to keep working out.
Yes, so did he win?
He did not. He it was a decision. It went the distance, but he did not win. And
oh my God.
Yeah, Sipker and Williams went to this. I think when was the SmackDown? Was that Friday night?
Friday night.
God, it's a big weekend of entertainment options here. But apparently it was just packed. The UFC.
I saw a lot of pictures. Yeah, it looked like I would like to be there. I know it's not for everybody. It makes my wife angry just me trying to tell her that I want to watch a UFC
because
fight. She
people
really
are punching each other in the face.
She just she does not like violence. She also gets angry at me about hockey fights. Not even fights, just like, pushing and shoving after the whistle. You got to have some of that stuff. I mean, it's just part of the game. But I don't know, the UFC. I'm entertained by it, and I've seen it live. I've seen it on TV.
It has a primitive appeal too.
It does, and I mean the other crazy thing that you just would never believe is you can look at that picture of Jeremy Stephens just absolutely bloody and battered right here. I bet like half an hour after the fight, although I shouldn't say this, I don't know. Maybe he's in the hospital, but often these guys look like this at the end of the fight, and like half an hour later, they're all cleaned up, and it's like they weren't even in a fight.
Yeah, studies have shown it's safer than boxing, which you wouldn't think.
No.
To look at some of these photos, but that's what they say.
Boxing, they just beat each other's heads for so long, those long rounds, and UFC, it's just much more concentrated.
The 2027 NFL draft is going to be in Washington, D.C., which is not really big news, I guess, but it's going to be at the National Mall. I mean, so this is where they're going to hold the draft, right?
Are they going to be in like a stadium build at the time? There's a new stadium coming there. I wonder if that's why, but I think it's kind of cool to do at the National Mall.
Yeah, and I can, this will be, we've seen photos, of course, of the National Mall completely packed, like at MLK's I Have a Dream speech, all the way back to the Washington Monument. I would not be surprised in a couple of years if it's packed like that for the NFL draft. I mean, just what's the most
slightly less important?
Yeah. But Tennessee, when Nashville, is that the most crowded we've seen the draft?
It looked like it. I don't know the head counts, but I mean, it was. There were like 250,000 people there or something. Just
at least
crowd.
there were 205 in Green Bay, but it seemed like even more in Nashville. Kentucky Derby has its highest viewership in 35 years. I find that interesting. Viewership peaked at 22 million viewers. We were finishing up Baconfest when this was run. It was a muddy track, and the two favorites battled for the win.
Journalism is on the move as they turn for home, and Sovereignty is coming with him on the outside. The two of them go right by with a furlong to run. Journalism and Sovereignty, nose to nose, down to the last 16th of a mile. Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism is second toward the inside. Baez is third, but it will be Sovereignty to rule the Kentucky Derby.
Great call there. Audio courtesy of NBC Sports. Those pictures are fantastic. The mud, I'm sure, is not fun to run in, but much like snow on a football field, it just makes for really scenic photos and video.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer because you get the idea that, my mind is always one track when it comes to the Kentucky Derby. I want the horse with the best chance of winning a Triple Crown to win the Kentucky Derby. And when the track conditions are weird, the weather is playing a factor, that's often not the case, right? I mean, it opens things up to a mutter or a bad performance by the best horse. In this case, I mean, these were the two favorites going in, and so maybe you don't feel that way, but it would have been interesting to see Journalism hang on there as the favorite. But man, it's crazy to hear, like if you read Seabiscuit, the books by Laura Hillenbrand, the extra measures that those jockeys have to go through in the mud. I mean, they wear like 10 pairs of goggles. And
yeah,
just
do they peel the strips like they do in a dirt track auto racing, or do they?
Well, they used to just throw the whole goggles off. They would remove the whole goggles. I don't know exactly what it is at this point, but they stack them deep and they just keep throwing them off because their goggles get so covered that they literally can't see. And then I guess you get down to your last pair and you're just screwed. If it's really bad, or you go through. So among all the other things they have to be thinking about, they got to be like, all right, I got to make sure not to run out of goggles here. But it's just, I mean, it's slippery. It's harder to probably just tell who's around you at any given time. I've been to the Kentucky Derby when it was a really muddy track. I think the first year with Patio Prado, it was muddy. It had been raining, and it does kind of throw a damper on things, but it's still such a great event.
$350 million wagered. That is also a record. It was on this day. How long would it be now? It would be 52 years ago that Secretariat won the Kentucky Derby under 2 minutes, and that record still stands. And one of the most fascinating nuggets from Saturday's Kentucky Derby, every single horse in the 20-horse field was a descendant of Secretariat. Every horse.
I think it's getting pretty thin at this point. Yeah, the bloodline is getting pretty thin. But yeah, it's spread all around. That is amazing. Still has the record for the Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. And in those races, Secretariat was accelerating throughout the race.
So wild, yeah. And now here's Emma Stone reciting by heart Steve Martin's epic rant from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
You can start by wiping that dumbass smile off your rosy cheeks. And then you can give me a automobile, a Datsun, a Toyota, a Mustang, a Buick, 4 wheels and a seat. And then you have to say, I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me.
Sir, I really don't care for the way you're speaking to me.
And I really don't care for the way your company left me in the middle of nowhere with keys to a car that isn't there. And I really didn't care to walk down a highway and across a runway to get back here and have you smile in my face. I want a car right now. But be eight.
Movie would have been PG if not for that one scene, but thank you for leaving it in.
Good for them. Yeah.
Gosh, so great. Confluence, official beer of Murph and Andy. Confluence is where good things come together. It's where we'll be on our spring patio tour, not this Friday, but the following Friday, correct? Do I have that right by memory? A week from Friday?
Put me on the spot here. It is, I think it might be is it the second one or the third one? I do not have it memorized at this point, but I can figure it out.
I think it's the second Friday.
Figure it out right now. It is the second one. Yeah, you're right. May 16th will be at Confluence. So Grimaldi's this week, Confluence next week.
Grimaldi's in Ankeny, correct?
Grimaldi is in Ankeny. They've got a nice patio there, kind of along the road, along the streets there.
Do you remember the last time we did a show at Grimaldi's in Ankeny? Do you remember where Sipker went on a Friday? He drove to Grimaldi's in West Des Moines.
Oh, that's right.
And missed the entire show.
He went to the wrong one. Did he call from the road or he texted? He was like,
he was in
where are
panic.
You guys? I'm here at Grimaldi's.
I'm at Grimaldi's. I can't find you. You're in the wrong place. We're in Ankeny. What? I'll try to get there. He didn't make it. Let's get some more on a Monday.
But wait, there's more from Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Went to Either Or on Friday night with
How'd that go?
Family and the kids. Thank you, Andrew. I was just thinking, I should have sent him that picture.
Was this photo taken from the ceiling?
Guy was tall dude. He was holding it up.
6'10"?
It was kind of embarrassing. The GM, or maybe not the GM, the guy that was running the show, bearded guy walking around, very helpful, really nice. And then I was like, oh, this guy will take a picture for me. So I was kind of waiting for him to finish up doing something over in one part of the restaurant. And then he comes walking back over, and I stopped him and was like, hey, do you mind taking a picture of my family for us? Oh yeah, no problem. The guy takes a picture. And then as he's taking the picture, the guy that I thought I was talking to walks by. And I was like, I just grabbed some random guy, some random customer, asked him to take a picture.
Well, everybody's happy to help.
He looked just
People
like
nice.
the guy that worked there. I know. He was really nice. It was
the beards can make it challenging to identify. You have to look into the eyes. Wow.
Well, my
okay.
daughter was very embarrassed, as she sometimes is. As she's 14 years
right?
old. Yeah,
Get used to it. This won't be the last
point.
time.
Yeah, almost to the point where she asked me to walk on the other side of the street and don't wave.
Could you drop me off on the corner, please?
Yeah. But we went and had a really nice time there at either or. Sat inside, but it was nice enough to sit outside. A lot of people out there. It is Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. It is a day to celebrate Mexico's victory over the Second French Empire at the Battle of Puebla in 1862, led by General Ignacio Zaragoza.
Is this celebrated in Mexico, or is this one of those American holidays that we use as an excuse to have another day to drink?
It's observed in Mexico. It's not their Independence Day. I think a lot of us think that mistakenly, but it's one of those days, probably like St. Patrick's Day, where, it's kind of a Mexican-American holiday. Huge day in the restaurant industry, even on a Monday. This weather will help. Boy, those patios will be packed. So about 99% of Americans live near at least one Mexican restaurant now. And that's interesting because this hasn't always been the way it was in America. Mexican food was never as ubiquitous as it is now, not anywhere close. Really got started in the 1920s in California, the first Mexican restaurants, first restaurants serving any kind of Mexican food. Didn't really reach the middle of the country in any kind of numbers until the 1970s. And I can remember growing up in St. Louis and like there were 2-3 Mexican restaurants. It seemed like in the whole county. And they were really popular, but they were owned by Americans. They were owned by, Mexican Americans, but they weren't, recent immigrants that ran it or anything like what we've got now. They credit the fajita craze of the 1990s with really spreading the popularity of Mexican American food. Places like Chili's that aren't really Mexican, but on the border. Where's the place that Kirk Ferentz used to do his show from? In Iowa City?
Kelly's.
Carlos
Mexican
O'Kelly's.
Cafe.
Yeah, that's an authentic Mexican restaurant. Anyway, it has become the most popular ethnic food in America. It's not really ethnic food anymore. It's just American food. Americans now buy more salsa than we do ketchup.
Wow. It's interesting in March when your friend and my friend Ken Pink and I were out visiting Bryce in the hospital, and his brothers and family. We went to right by Bryce's apartment. There's a really popular Mexican restaurant, and one of Bryce's friends was saying, yeah, they opened this like 50 years ago, and it was just a little small place and had real authentic Mexican food, and it did okay. But then when they left it when the son inherited the restaurant, he completely went with the Americanized Mexican food model, where pretty much you can rotate whatever dish on the plate and it kind of tastes the same with a lot of cheese. It's good, but it's, the Americanized Mexican restaurant with a big emphasis on margaritas. And he said now they're printing money. Like they can't keep up with the demand to eat there. So they have this place with like authentic Mexican food, probably healthy, smaller portions, good for you. And then they Americanize it. And now they have franchises all around the San Diego area, and they're printing money.
Oh yeah, right.
That's us.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure the free chips and salsa, that reeks of Americans. The desserts.
I go nuts on that chip basket with the salsa.
I guess there's not a lot of fried ice cream served in authentic Mexico. Congrats to Des Moines' Greg Abel. He has been tapped to succeed Warren Buffett as the new CEO of Berkshire Hathaway.
Is he the one on the left who looks like Michael Caine, or the one on the right who looks like Larry Bird?
The guy on the right looks like Larry Bird. I've met this guy before. He's a nice guy. He's a hockey dad. He's a sports dad.
Wow.
I've seen him at the Recplex before. He's just a kind of a regular Des Moines dude. I believe he was born in Canada, but we know him as an Iowan, and that is a really important job. There was a really big meeting over there on Saturday morning. big meeting from Warren Buffett letting everybody know that he's not going to work forever. He's 94, damn well did it, almost did it, but he's got to hang on, keep going for a while. But
he worked 30 years past retirement age.
Jeez. But congrats to Greg Abel, and if you see that guy around, be really nice to him. For a lot of parents, May has become the unofficial second December, according to the Today Show.
Why is that?
It is a month filled with school events, sports tournaments, performances, and final projects, all happening before the end of the school year.
Yeah, and then like for my daughter who's in kindergarten, every day is a letter countdown to the end of the school year. So it started with A, now B. So now it's like every day, every morning. It's, oh, Daddy, it's hat day. I need to find a hat. Or hey, Daddy, it's this day. And so it's like every day you have something else that you have to dress up for or send to school, worry about.
Hat day was not a problem for you.
No, that was my favorite day of the year.
So these patio tour stops on Fridays, this month and next month, are going to be therapeutic for a lot of people. I mean, they're going to need these stops.
I know many
They're
people
going crazy right now, Murph.
who use their creativity to find ways to not work on Friday afternoons. I don't want to call anybody out on here. There are many people watching and listening, and it would be unfair. But you know who you are. The business meeting that you're having that just happens to be 90 minutes away. Or we're playing golf this afternoon. It's a business golf. There are a lot of creative ways to get away. Remember, gosh, Andrew, you would know this. 𝗀XNO may have led not 𝗀XNO, the whole building like that. We'd come in to do our show, and there was like nobody in the building on Fridays.
Like the door would be locked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sometimes the door would be locked. And it's not a day off. So we know people can get to these patio tours, but we might need to work out some kind of signal of don't put me in your photos.
Well, yeah, and also if you need to put something on your calendar at work, AKC Marketing, you have a meeting with me.
Yeah.
You doesn't have to specify what. You just, that sounds official.
Yeah,
have a marketing meeting.
Have
and
a
maybe you'll
business
get a new
meeting.
deal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs merch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we won't blow the whistle on anybody, but also to the bosses out there, don't be a dick. I mean, just come on, man. I mean, it's Friday afternoon. Let everybody slide. Don't be taking a bed check at 4:00 on a Friday afternoon. You don't
go Bob Knight.
Oh my God. This week, the 135 Cardinals who are under the age of 80 enter their conclave in the Sistine Chapel to select a new pope.
I just caught up to your meaning here because I've just been programmed. I hear Cardinals from you and baseball comes to mind. But in this case, no.
No, a different team of Cardinals, slightly older. Now, it's funny that they point this out. This group of Cardinals is the most diverse in history. They hail from 71 different countries.
Wow.
That's amazing. Then again, they are really not all that diverse at all. They're all middle-aged men.
So they're diverse in geography.
And where they came from. Yeah, right, exactly.
Not in gender, not so much in age.
No, and they're all Catholic.
Oh, yeah,
I'm relatively
and not
sure.
religion.
I also
Really?
love that the Catholic voting is more progressive than American voting. You can't vote if you're over 80. We can't get a candidate who's under 80 to run for anything. And the Catholic Church won't allow you to vote for Pope if you're over 80. It's crazy.
It is funny that's
a good line.
That's where they set the line. How long has the
80?
line been at 80? I mean, people don't live to be 80.
They've had popes that have been past 80.
I know
Many
they
popes.
have, but like the life expectancy of an adult male is like 78.
Warren Buffett was mid-career at 80.
I just think it's kind of crazy. It's like they're counting on these popes turning over pretty regularly by setting the bar that high. Now, apparently there is a cardinal who's 45 years old. He's the youngest cardinal ever. There's one that's like 51, one that's 53, but then a whole slew of them that are in their 70s. Okay, moving on now. I, Andy Fales, president of the Tough Last Names to Grow Up With Club, do hereby submit for review the admission application of 𝗀cie 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. She says she deserves a spot in our club and submits the following as evidence.
Jacqueline Jewett. Julie Jerkoff. Forgive me, Kirkhoff.
Oh.
That's why. That's why.
That moment, graduation.
They called her. They called her Julie Jerkoff. Kirkhoff.
She's in the club. Yeah. She's in the club, right? Do we even need to get the whole? Can you just do this? Can you use your executive power to just put her in?
Yep. And the others, Derek Assman, Tony Seaman, Patrick Dix, the other officers.
Assman would definitely be for Julie Jerkoff getting in.
But because, you abbreviate that, J. Kirkhoff, it just looks like Jerkoff, right? I mean, when you're written.
Jacqueline Jewett. Julie Jerkoff. Forgive me, Kirkhoff.
Master of Science. This is real.
Well, and then like her, if you abbreviate her first and middle name, it's J.A. Kirkhoff. Looks like Jackoff. I mean, it doesn't get better. It gets worse. This poor girl. This day in 1961, Alan Shepard becomes the first American in space. It's
Alan Shepard. I'm sorry, I don't mean to correct you. I was under the impression it was Gail King.
This guy went all the way into space back when it was really not all that certain he was going to make it back down again. Can you imagine how rickety the equipment was? First of all, he's wearing an 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗶 helmet. Like, how much is that going to help him?
And looks like tinfoil. Like his suit is made out of tinfoil.
It's got like some surgical rubber hose hanging off the side of it. The Soviets had beaten us into space by successfully launching Yuri Gagarin into space and returned him home safely in just the weeks prior. The race really is led by the Soviets all the way up until Apollo 11 in 1969. That, of course, put us on the moon and really kind of prompted a white flag from the Soviets at that point. From the files, some headlines don't need stories. We bring you this. Drunk, pantsless man said he was Charles Dickens. Vincent Conroy is his real name. He's 56. He's from Florida.
Charles Dickens is?
Yeah, I mean, when you're walking around with no pants and you say your name is Charles Dickens, I don't know if he's trying to be funny there or if that's really the name that came to mind. Arrested for wandering drunk in a parking lot wearing just a T-shirt and no pants. Police asked for his name. He said he was Charles Dickens, the famous author of The Christmas Carol, among other stories. Cops later found out his real name after they somehow failed to believe him. Conroy was carrying an open bottle of alcohol, which is against the law, even in Florida. Got in trouble for that. Also trouble for showing his weenus in public and for lying about his name. We finish off with a game of two truths and a lie.
You, sir, are a liar. Liar, liar, your pants are on fire!
Here we go. Two truths and a lie. You tell me which is which.
Okay.
Burritos, margaritas, and queso dip are not Mexican. Louis C.K. is Mexican. More Americans travel to Canada each year than Mexico. Have at it.
I think I know one of them is true. So
Okay.
I can eliminate one. I know Louis C.K. is Mexican. Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't look like it.
I'm going to say the lie is more Americans travel to Canada.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's true. I mean,
Man, I made it too easy this week. You guys both got it right. Yeah. Mexico is the most popular, not popular. It does the most traffic back and forth between the United States.
Not Mexican?
No, it's Mexican American. Burritos are Mexican American. Queso dip, Sure is Mexican American too. Queso dip is pretty easy to believe. That didn't come from anywhere but here. Margaritas, I mean, lime, tequila.
Making me hungry for some authentic Mexican food. I may stop at Taco John's on my way to work.
It's not that different, right? I mean, a lot of Mexican restaurants seems like it's like really your choices are corn or flour, beef or bean or chicken.
You get that flour,
guacamole and sour cream or not.
The flour taco from Tasty Tacos.
The Mosqueda family is Mexican American. None of them have any sort of accent. They've all been here longer than we have. But they're proud of their heritage, and man, did they make the old man, Mr. Mosqueda, that came up with that recipe. Oh my God, those are good.
Yeah. So is that salsa.
Hot or mild salsa, JT points out. That's another one of your choices. Hot or mild, corn or flour, beef or bean. That's about it. That's your more, everybody.
I have another recipe from the Shed, Lakeview Hunting and Fishing Lodge in Brooklyn. If
you've got a recipe from rural Missouri.
Yeah, can you see that right there in the middle, Andy?
Taste like shit muffins? DW's taste like shit muffins?
Yeah, you combine flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. Mix well. Mix together egg, milk, and oil. Add to dough mixture. Add blueberries. Put in paper baking cups and bake at 400 degrees for 20 minutes.
Why do they taste like shit?
I'll bet they're good. I'll bet they're good.
Really?
All right, time for Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto treats you like family in Knoxville, Waukee, Ankeny, Boone, and Creston. They're also an authorized dealer of both Bridgestone and Firestone tires. Andy, the NBA playoffs move to round 2. In the West, the Thunder host the Nuggets. The T-Wolves host the Warriors. In the East, it's the Cavs and Pacers, the Celtics and the Knicks. Which matchup is most compelling?
I feel like I'm supposed to say T-Wolves and Warriors because we have the connection here. I'm more interested in the Celtics and Knicks. Anytime you have New York and Boston, two teams that just have passionate fan bases, lock and horns. I feel like, man, if that goes all the way, goes the distance, that will be that'll be a spectacle. I'm going to take that one.
I think these all have intrigue.
Yeah.
I think there's something for everyone in all 4 of these series, but I'm going to go Timberwolves Warriors because I think the Knicks Celtics is going to be a mismatch. I don't think the Knicks match up well with the Celtics at all. That feels like a 4-1 series to me.
Murph, we never mentioned this, but last month LeBron James passed 50,000 scored points in the regular season and the playoffs. That's 6,000 more than anybody else. The milestone kind of came and went. How impressed are you by this achievement?
Definitely impressed just by the longevity of excellence, and LeBron, who is an easy target sometimes, deserves all kinds of credit for how hard he works at being great. I mean, he much like Tom Brady, he has worked really hard to stay in this kind of shape at this age. It's not the most impressive record to me, partly because he started playing when he was 18. He's mostly avoided injuries, so there is definitely a longevity element to this, but he also deserves credit for that longevity, and he is still great. I do think the Lakers now need to move into the let's build the team around Luka era, because that's who you made the trade for, but it's impressive, no doubt.
It's impressive. It's just, with LeBron James, it's like we've been sitting 2 inches away from the TV screen the whole time. There's just been this symphony of noise going and we can't pick out the individual sounds. He will need to retire and give us 10 years.
Yeah.
And then we will look and see the individual accomplishments, records that he did and be really, really impressed. But that's kind of one of the trademarks of a truly great athlete is that they have so many different records and amazing points of their career that they kind of blur together. and you need time to unpack them all. And they have to kind of stop playing for you to do that, because the longer they keep playing, the more they keep setting records.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark's senior year at Iowa, it was like
Right.
every
Yes.
game there was something. And
Same thing.
Exactly. Andy, I went to a AA baseball game in Mississippi. I sat in the front row right by third base, and I used the opportunity to teach my kids about the subtle art of heckling the other team's players. Now, it was innocent stuff, a lot of, hey, number 10, your shoe's untied. And then he would look down, and the kids got a real kick out of that. A lot of innocent stuff.
Breaking out the classics.
Is it okay to gently heckle baseball players?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you're not getting personal. You're not swearing around the other fans or something like that. You're just kind of having fun with it all. I think it's probably kind of your job in the minor leagues is to get these guys prepared for that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I was like,
right.
hey, we're the closest as anybody is to this third baseman.
Now, I mean, it's a little weird when yours is the only voice that can be heard. There aren't many people there, and everything you say just totally stands out. So I think it would make me kind of chicken out, and I'd stop. But if there's just enough noise around you, maybe a few other people doing the same thing, I think it's all fun.
It can't be personal. That's when it crosses a line for me. And I think of it mostly as, if it's funny, that's fine. That's good. We were at a Barnstormers game, and the Barnstormers were playing the Nebraska Danger, and we were sitting on the boards, and a Barnstormer tackled a Nebraska Danger receiver like right in front of us, and Jenny leaned over and said, "Danger my ass." And all the players turned and they were laughing, including the Danger player. So like, that's funny. But say like something personal, or like, I'm not for like looking people's personal lives up and then yelling that stuff at them. I think that crosses the line.
That's for the college kids in their student section to do. When you're of a certain age, you look pretty bad doing that.
All right, let's throwdowns.
All right. Send your Grimaldi's fan photos to Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com. Presented by Grimaldi's Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria in West Des Moines and District at Prairie Trail, Ankeny, where our broadcast will be live Friday, 1 p.m. on the patio. Rain or shine, Andy, on the patio?
I don't know if they've got an overhang there at Grimaldi's, but if it's raining, we'll move inside. But they have a lot of space there. We broadcast from inside before and had people join us. They have a good space.
They have a great setup.
It's going to be fine.
And the weather's going to be
the
great
weather is
for
supposed to
all
be
8
74
stops.
degrees and perfect on Friday. It was the last forecast I saw. So meet us on the patio there at Prairie Trail. You can get some other shopping done too. But come up, get yourself a large pizza, and they'll throw in a free beer.
AD, I breezed right through the photos. Who do we have? Who's showing off? Looks like somebody ran.
This was Joshua. He did the Colorado Marathon over the weekend, and like last week's winner, he listened to the Friday episode of Murph and Andy while running the marathon. So hey,
nice.
That's a new thing people are doing.
What happened quicker? He ran a marathon or the show ended?
No comment. And then Tony sent this in. This was his daughter yesterday at Carver Hawkeye Arena with Herky and whatever the Fever's mascot's name is.
That is Dottie.
that
and what's the Fever mascot's name? That's a cute picture. Gosh. The Fever mascot looks nuts.
Yeah,
is that like a Stegosaurus Rex?
Yeah, that's crazy. What's his name? It's not Freddy Fever. I saw it referenced.
Is it
yesterday,
Yellow
but I can't
Fever?
remember now.
Freddy Fever. It is Freddy.
It is Freddy Fever?
Scarlet Fever?
Nobody wants their photo taken with scarlet fever. Thank you. Keep those photos coming in. $50 gift card presented on Friday. All right, time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD Squared.
It's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I go to the one in Ankeny and Prairie Trail right next to the Grimaldi's. You can go to West Des Moines and University. Really anywhere in the country. If you're on the eastern side of the state, North Liberty is where you want to be. A big topic last week here on the show and really everywhere was Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan, and the way she interfered with the CBS interview. What I found out last night watching Sound Off on WHO 13 is Jordan's not the only significant other to get editorial decision on shows like this.
To Sound Off.
Welcome to Sound Off alongside Mr. Sound Off John Sears. I'm Keith Murphy. So much going on, including the Fever's sold-out game in Iowa City today.
Yeah, and you and your wife Jenny went to Baconfest. How was that?
We're not talking about this.
No?
No.
That's embarrassing.
From the shadows.
That down. Murph, you need to go to game day.
Man, get your tea back, Murph. Somebody else has got it.
Quickie poll results presented by 𝗀cie Pools and Spas.
Oh, that sounded good. I feel good on my back right now. I wish I could spend the day in my WCI.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Hot tub. Have you been to Mexico? 68% say C. 32% say no.
That should have been the answer. C. 68%. Yeah, it's one of our simpler questions. What are your words? Have you been to Mexico? Yes, no. That was a quick one. All right, thank you for being part of Murph and Andy here on a Monday. We had fun. We hope you did too. Thank you for supporting local media on Iowa Everywhere. Many shows. You can find them at iowaeverywhere.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Please like and subscribe. Invite your friends to the party. We're back Wednesday. We hope you are too.